In many ways, the growth problems and the conservation problems of California are the same kind of problems that our country faces. We surmount these growth problems only if we work together. It is a pleasure for me to permit us to look at this valley and others like it across the country, where we can see the greenest and most richest earth producing the greatest and richest crops in the country. And then a mile away, see the same earth and see it brown and dusty and useless, and all because there's water in one place and there isn't in another.
Water supply issues are among the most important and least understood issues around the world. Satellite images captured over the last few decades indicate that our fresh water supplies are rapidly changing. Dry areas are getting drier, as wet areas are getting wetter. Some are at risk of losing access to the water we need to survive. It took 200,000 years for the world's population to reach 1 billion. In the last 200 years, it has expanded to 7.7 billion. As human populations explode, many places are already seeing their demand for water outstrip supply.
It's a worldwide phenomenon. It's why China is building dams on the Tibetan Plateau so they won't have to send water to Cambodia and Laos. It's just played out here in a different venue, different set of circumstances. It's the same game. Get me water first. The hell with the other people.
Water's a big problem. There's conflict over water. There's violent conflict over access to water worldwide. We have the reality of climate change, which is fundamentally a water issue. As humans take more water out of the natural environment, the ecosystems on which we also depend are increasingly suffering. We're seeing our fisheries die. We're seeing our rivers dry up. We're seeing our wetlands disappear, and the birds that migrate thousands of miles every year that depend on those ecosystems perish as well. We have to figure out a way to provide water for human uses, but also for the natural ecosystems that depend on the same water resources.
It's hard to explain why California, as a supposed leader in many, many things in the world, can't address these issues.
California in particular has really over-allocated our supplies for a long time.
Water is so valuable that you're going to fight over it. You're going to fight for every last drop. Everybody is.
The water wars is the reference to everybody fighting each other to keep their share or take someone else's share. And it gets a little bitter and nasty sometimes.
California is not unique in its water challenges. We are unique, perhaps, in the sense that we have the money, we have the institutions, we have the brain power to solve our water problems, and we haven't solved them yet. But if we can't solve them here, it's going to be difficult to think about how we're going to solve water challenges around the world.
The drought from 2012 to 2016 was California's worst on record.
The state of California is resorting to drastic measures tonight to combat its severe drought.
Op-eds in the LA Times questioned if people would soon run out of water. Homes and businesses were asked to significantly cut back their water use.
The mandatory rules are designed to reduce water use by 25%.
Homeowners pulled out their lawns and replaced them with artificial turf. Drought shaming became a popular form of vigilantism.
Mikey Barnum wrote, "Way to hose down your entire sidewalk." Twice. Are you okay with being called a water snitch?
I am. I totally am.
Meanwhile, the media narrative was that agriculture was suffering across the state.
California farmers are losing billions of dollars every year that we have this drought. while that's happening, the acreage of nut crops is skyrocketing. These crops are tremendously valuable on the export markets. The San Joaquin Valley is now the nut supplier to the world. And so we're delivering water that belongs to the California public and that is needed by the fish and wildlife and water quality that we rely on to the San Joaquin Valley to grow a lot of crops that are being exported out of the country to China, the Middle East, etc.